He almost picked up the tarp, but something stopped him. Spring of 2014 was unusually quiet for Bill. Warm air, clear roads, and fewer broken cars meant slow days at his auto shop. That afternoon, around 4 p.m., he stepped outside to enjoy the breeze. Behind his shop, the land dropped into a steep hill that led down to a narrow stream and a walking trail. It was his favorite place to relax before closing. As he stood there, something caught his eye. Halfway down the hill, tangled in the brush, was a large blue tarp. It looked out of place. Bill took pride in keeping his business clean. Trash near the property bothered him. Without thinking too much, he started climbing down the hill. The dirt shifted under his boots as he moved closer. He was about 15 feet away when he heard a car pull into the lot. A customer. He paused, glanced back up, then sighed. Work came first. He turned around and climbed back up, leaving the tarp where it was. By 5:30, he locked up and went home. He forgot all about it. The next afternoon, everything changed. Bill was sitting in his office when 3 police officers walked in. Their presence immediately made the atmosphere feel heavy. They asked questions. Had he seen anything strange? Anyone unusual? Any activity near the back of the shop? Bill, naturally friendly and easy to talk to, tried to help. He joked a little, kept things light, but he could tell this wasn't routine. Then one officer, without meaning to, let something slip. A body had been found, just down the hill. Bill froze. Wait, I was down there yesterday, he said slowly. Cleaning up a bit. I didn't see anyone. The officer leaned in slightly. Around what time? He told her. Then she asked, Did you notice a blue tarp? Bill's stomach dropped. Yeah, I almost picked it up. I was going to throw it away. There was a short silence. That's where the body was, she said. A jogger had found it that morning. Bill felt a chill run through him. He had been standing just feet away from it the day before, without knowing. Over the next few days, the police came back. They noticed the security cameras around the shop and wanted to review the footage. While they worked, Bill tried to piece things together. He learned the victim was a middle-aged man. He had been stabbed. There wasn't much evidence. But Bill had a feeling. Behind his shop, near an old bar, there was a small shack. 2 people lived there, a couple known for causing trouble. They argued, stole scrap metal, let their dogs run wild. One time, the man had even threatened Bill. You might want to check them out, Bill told the officer. They've got issues. The officer nodded, but didn't say much. That same day, curiosity got the better of Bill. Let's go take a look, he whispered to his coworker, Hank. Hank hesitated, but agreed. They walked down the hill to where the tarp had been found. The area looked disturbed, flattened grass, dirt marks, but the tarp was gone. After a while, Bill wandered further along the stream, under a small bridge where the trees grew thicker. That's when he saw it. A red shopping cart, half stuck in the brush near the water. It didn't belong there. Hey, we could use that at the shop, he called out casually. Hank came over, and together they pulled it free. That's when Bill noticed something strange. Dark stains. At first, he thought it was rust. But it didn't look right. Hank, stop. They leaned closer. The stains were everywhere, on the handle, inside the cart, even on the wheels. Then they saw it. Hair. Not animal hair. Human. Bill's chest tightened. This is blood. He called the police immediately. At first, they didn't seem convinced. The tone on the phone was skeptical, almost dismissive. But after some insistence, a unit arrived along with a forensic technician. The technician questioned everything. How do you know it's blood? It looks like blood, Bill replied. And the hair. It looks human. There was tension in the air. Finally, they tested it. Positive. Human blood. The cart was taken as evidence. Bill once again mentioned the couple behind the shop. Still, no clear reaction. A couple of days later, something else happened. Bill was leaving work, heading down a dirt alley behind the shop. Usually, it was blocked by the couple's car, but that day it was open. As he drove slowly, he saw her. The woman from the shack. She was kneeling beside a car, her upper body leaning inside. Around her were bottles, bleach, cleaning chemicals, strong stuff. But something was wrong. There was no water, no rinsing, just aggressive scrubbing, over and over. In the middle of a hot afternoon, Bill felt it instantly. This wasn't normal. He pulled out his phone and started recording. As he drove past, he called out jokingly, "Cleaning up something serious?" She snapped back angrily. But Bill didn't laugh. He drove off and called the police again. This time, they listened. The next day, officers went to the shack. The day after that, someone was arrested. Inside the shack, they found a large bloodstain soaked deep into the wooden floor. That's when the truth came out. The woman broke down. She told them everything. The victim, a man named Rich, had come over to use drugs. At some point, an argument started. Someone accused him of hiding some of the drugs. Things escalated. The man of the house attacked Rich and stabbed him. Rich bled out on the floor. They panicked. They didn't know what to do. So they used a stolen shopping cart to move the body, wrapped it in a tarp, loaded it into a car, then dumped it down the hill behind Bill's shop. They thought the stream would carry away any evidence. They were wrong. Bill and Hank watched as police took the woman away in handcuffs. The flashing lights reflected off the shop windows. It was over. But Bill couldn't stop thinking about one thing. He had been there, standing just feet away, one day earlier. If that customer hadn't arrived, if he had taken a few more steps, he would have touched the tarp. He would have seen what was inside. And maybe the story would have ended very differently. The man smiled, but nothing about him felt safe. Sally and I were about 14 when it happened. We lived in a quiet rural area where houses sat far apart, surrounded by bushland and long stretches of silence. It was the kind of place where you felt free during the day, and a little too exposed at night. That summer, we decided to do something fun. Camping. Alone. Not far from her house, still on her family's land, but deep enough into the bush to feel like an adventure. We bought cheap hammocks, grabbed blankets, snacks, and flashlights, and spent a couple of days clearing a path through the thick grass. We used a small blade to cut through sharp weeds, laughing the whole time, even as we ended up with tiny cuts all over our legs and arms. It felt worth it. By the time we were done, we had our own little hidden campsite. That night, around 9 p.m., we were lying in our hammocks, talking about random things, laughing, enjoying the quiet. The air was warm, but we had blankets ready for later when the temperature dropped. Everything felt normal, until we heard something moving in the bushes. At first, we didn't think much of it. Probably a wallaby. There were plenty around. But then we saw a shape. A person. We went quiet immediately. "Is that your brother?" I whispered. Sally shook her head. The figure moved closer. For a moment, we thought it might be her dad. But something felt off. He was coming from the wrong direction, away from the house, not toward it. We stayed still, barely breathing. Then the man stepped into view. "Hey," he said casually. He introduced himself as Ben. Up close, everything about him felt wrong. He was older, maybe in his 40s, and clearly drunk. He staggered when he walked. Even from a distance, we could smell the alcohol. His voice was slow, uneven. He looked around our little campsite and smiled. "You girls got a nice setup here," he said. We forced small smiles, not knowing what else to do. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. "I might come out here sometime, lay on one of these hammocks. You know, sunbathe naked." Sally and I exchanged a quick look. We didn't laugh. We didn't respond. We just stayed quiet. But he kept talking, and it kept getting worse. Some of his words were slurred, hard to understand. But a few things were very clear. I could kill you, like in those movies. You're almost old enough anyway. He asked our age. We didn't answer. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it. While he rambled, Sally and I started texting each other, our phones hidden under the blankets. We need to leave. He pulled out a glass pipe and offered it to us. Want a puff? He asked, grinning. We both shook our heads quickly. Sally finally spoke up. We're going back to the house to eat. He stared at us for a moment, then nodded slowly. Come back later, he said. We didn't answer. We grabbed nothing, not the blankets, not the bags, and walked away as calmly as we could. The second we were out of sight, we ran. When we got back, we told Sally's dad everything. He took it seriously. We stayed inside that night. Safe. Or at least, we thought we were. The next morning, we went back to the campsite. And what we saw didn't make sense at first. Everything was burned. Not just our hammocks. Not just the blankets. The entire area. A large circle, at least 20 meters wide, was completely scorched. Black ground. Ash everywhere. The grass was gone. And there was something else. A trail. A narrow line of burned grass leading away from the circle, straight toward the neighbor's property. Toward where Ben lived. We stood there in silence. Then it hit us. What if he thought we were still there? The blankets had been piled up in the hammocks. From a distance, in the dark, it could have looked like we were sleeping. The thought made me feel sick. Sally's dad came out, saw everything, and immediately went next door. Ben wasn't there, but his roommate was. He apologized. Gave Sally's dad some money for the damaged stuff. That was it. No police. No real consequences. And for a while, nothing else happened. A few months later, Sally told me something at school. He's been coming onto our property, she said quietly. Her dad had security cameras. They caught Ben sneaking around at night. Watching. Walking through the yard. Not doing anything. Just being there. That was enough. One afternoon, I went over to Sally's house after school. She was going to be home alone for a few hours until her dad got back. We tried to act normal. Watched TV. Talked. Avoided the subject. But the feeling was still there. Like something wasn't right. That night, I decided to stay over. And that's when he came back. We heard him before we saw him. Shouting. Loud. Angry. We looked out the window and saw him standing in the front yard. Drunk again. Yelling. Accusing Sally of stealing his dog. It didn't make any sense. He kept shouting, pacing back and forth, completely out of control. Sally's dad called the police. We stayed inside, frozen, listening to his voice echo through the yard. When the police arrived, they arrested him. Just like that. He didn't fight it. Didn't argue. Just went quiet. The next morning, we found something in the yard. A knife. It wasn't from Sally's house. It wasn't supposed to be there. The police came back. Took the knife. Reviewed the camera footage again. We never found out exactly what he planned to do. And honestly, I don't think we wanted to know. After that, Ben was gone. He didn't come back. No more late-night footsteps. No more shadows in the yard. No more voice in the dark. But even now, years later, I still think about that night in the bush. The way he appeared out of nowhere. The way he smiled. The things he said so casually. And the fire. That perfect circle of burned. Like someone had tried to erase something. Or someone. If we hadn't left when we did. If we had stayed in those hammocks. There's a very real chance. We wouldn't be here to tell the story. He watched me every single day. and I thought he was just a weird neighbor. I was about 13 when the family down the street moved out. They were normal, friendly people, the kind you waved to but didn't think much about. Their house sat in a quiet part of our neighborhood in Dewey, Arizona. Nothing special, but peaceful. Then the new guy moved in. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. Just another neighbor. But almost immediately, things felt off. The day he arrived, he brought a large rental truck, one of those box trucks you see people use for moving. That part was normal. What wasn't normal was that the truck never left. Days passed, then weeks. It stayed parked in his driveway the entire time. And there was something else. An extension cord. It ran from inside his house, all the way out to the truck, plugged in, constantly. At 13, I didn't fully understand why that bothered me. But it did. Over time, his property started to change. And not in a good way. Paint cans appeared in the yard. Trash piled up along the side of the house. Random junk, broken items, scraps, things that didn't belong, started collecting everywhere. The place looked abandoned. But he was there. People in the neighborhood talked about him. Anyone who had interacted with him said the same thing. He was strange, and not in a harmless way. Unpredictable. Uncomfortable. The kind of person you avoided without needing a clear reason. Around that time, I started mowing lawns for extra money. One of my regular jobs was for a family who lived right next to him. They were away on a long trip and asked me to keep their yard maintained while they were gone. So, a few times a week, I'd be out there mowing their lawn. Right next to his house. Right in his line of sight. The first time I noticed him watching me, I brushed it off. He stood behind his living room window, partially hidden by the blinds. Just staring. Not moving. Not pretending to do anything else. Just watching. I looked away, uncomfortable, but told myself it was nothing. People are weird sometimes. But then it kept happening. Every single time I showed up, he was there. Behind the same window. Peeking through the blinds. Watching me. For the entire time I worked. It didn't matter if I was mowing, trimming, or taking a break. If I looked up, he was there. Still. Silent. Staring. After a while, I started looking back on purpose. Trying to make it obvious that I noticed. Hoping it would make him stop. Sometimes I'd give him a confused look. Other times, an annoyed one. It didn't matter. He never reacted. Never moved. Never looked away. It was like he didn't care that I could see him. Or worse. Like he wanted me to know. 2 years passed. Eventually, I stopped doing that lawn. Life moved on. And the weird neighbor became just another uncomfortable memory. Something to laugh about. Something to forget. Until the night everything came back. It was a normal evening. My family was sitting in the living room, eating dinner and watching the news. Nothing unusual. Just background noise. Until the tone of the broadcast changed. Breaking news, the anchor said. That alone made us look up. They started talking about a developing case. A woman had been found, dead. Her body had been discovered inside a freezer. Inside a rental truck. I remember the room going quiet. The kind of silence where no one even breathes. Then they showed the location. The house. I felt it before I fully processed it. That sinking feeling. I stood up slowly and walked closer to the TV. Hoping I was wrong. But I wasn't. It was his house. No one said anything. We just stared. Trying to make sense of it. I ran outside. Down the street. And when I looked toward his house, it was chaos. Police cars everywhere. News vans lined up along the road. Bright lights cutting through the evening. Cameras pointed at the house I had spent years trying not to look at. Everything suddenly made sense. The truck. The extension cord. The way it never moved. He had kidnapped a young woman. 23 years old. From a freeway in Los Angeles. He had taken her, hurt her, and killed her. Then he put her body in a freezer, inside that truck, and then he drove all the way to Arizona, to that quiet neighborhood, to that house, where he lived, right next to his own mother. Someone who had no idea what he had done. The extension cord, it powered the freezer. The truck wasn't storage. It was a secret, one he kept right there in plain sight. And me, I had been just a kid, mowing a lawn, while just a few feet away, behind that wall, inside that truck, was something I can't even fully process. But the part that still stays with me, the part one can't shake, is the watching. Every day. That same window. That same still figure behind the blinds. Looking right at me. At the time, I thought it was just some strange, lonely guy. Maybe bored. Maybe socially awkward. Now I know better. He wasn't just watching. He was hiding something. Something terrible. And somehow, that made it worse. Because all those times I looked back at him, all those moments we made eye contact, I was standing there in the open. And he was standing there with a secret. That could have changed everything if I had known. Even now, I wonder, why did he watch me? Was he just curious? Was he paranoid? Or was he making sure that no one got too close to the truth?